Say something. What microphone are you using on your laptop? Happy Wednesday morning, y'all. We are going to get started in a few, just trying to work out through some technical difficulties. But if you are joining me here today, we're going to do a deep dive of the Texas Democratic primary. But just give me a quick second. I hope everybody has been having a lovely week otherwise. Just to do some housekeeping, if this is your first time watching AeonEsq Live, please subscribe to the channel. Please like the comment. Please subscribe, please like, and please feel free to comment and engage. This is a collective and communal conversation. Also, I know I was supposed to come back on Monday to do a deep dive on the ACO's lawsuit against the state of Kansas. I still intend to do that video. That'll either happen today or some course over the weekend. My energy was not where it needed to be Monday and yesterday, and I just needed a break. So in lieu of just coming up here and being all tired and drained and not giving you all the best of what I could give y'all, I decided to push that episode back. And that lawsuit will still be going on by the time I do the deep dive of the initial complaint, so we can see what actual claims are being brought against the state of Texas, and then I can just break some stuff down, because I have gotten some questions from people in community just about what do certain things mean, and how does this impact me in my state. So I definitely intend to do that video at some point in the future. Are you in here? See, Michael? Y'all, we are just hammering out some technical difficulties before we move forward. It looks like you figured something out. I feel like you're in purgatory or something and I can't get to. I feel like you're in the afterlife or some shit. Y'all, let's take another 5 minute break, and then it'll give some of y'all some more time to come up and just see if we can get these technical difficulties fixed. So just bear with me a little bit, for a little while longer. I'll be back in like 5 minutes. Are you on your phone now? Are you on your phone now?
Can you hear me okay?
I sure can. Clear as a bell.
Excellent.
Well, I'm gonna take you down real quick to do some housekeeping, and then I'm gonna bring you back.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Okay. Hey y'all. So just had to work through some technical difficulties. So again, apologize for not coming on live Monday or Tuesday. I just I wasn't feeling well. Also, I needed to clean my house because I'm going I have to take a trip coming up. So I just needed to clean my house. It was time and I just needed to rest. So I did that Monday and Tuesday. I do plan to do a deep dive of the transgender driver's license lawsuit case. I do plan to do a deep dive. It may be today, but it'll probably be early next week. So please bear with me. But if this is your first time here, welcome to AeonEsq Live. Please make sure you subscribe, like, share, and comment. This is a communal space, and this is a space for critique and just genuine conversation. So I'm so happy that you're here. And if you are joining again, I'm so happy that you came back. So Today we're going to talk about the 2026 Texas Democratic primary. For those of you who don't know, I'm currently based in Houston, Texas, so I was able to vote in the Texas Democratic primary. It's going to be a layered deep dive. Hopefully, we'll be on here for an hour, maybe an hour and a half, but we'll see. But just want to just talk about everything that has just been coming up for me as a result of last night's election, and also wanted to do this in company with somebody whose perspective that I lean on when trying to understand this the politics and the political process and Black legacy politics and all of that. So definitely so happy to have my friend, my sibling and colleague, C. Michael Robinson, on the line so we can talk and hopefully key and just try to make sense of what's going on and try to make sense of y'all's racism. Because a lot of y'all showed y'all slips during the cycle, and I'm not gonna let it go. So, but before we get to it, let me bring our guest in. Welcome, C. Michael, to the AeonEsq Live studios. Oh no. You're muted, honey.
Oh, and I'm over here talking. Hi, thank you for having me. I'm so glad that you're back to streaming. This has been a void in the internet for quite some time.
Oh, has it? Oh my
It
God.
has. It has. It's nice to be a free agent, isn't it?
Do you like my political hair?
I do. The bob is bobbing.
Yeah, you like
And
my political hair? I had to switch it up for the girls, honey.
yes, the lack of fullness definitely gives I'm about to run for something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the front suit gives my, my hotel room number is 553.
And then
I'll
when Trey gets there, he has to tap the card, girl.
I'll leave the door cracked.
I
Okay.
can't.
So let's before we get to it, how about you introduce yourselves to the people? Give just a little bit of your background and expertise so we can just ground this conversation.
Okay, I still get very uncomfortable talking about myself in that context, but I guess for your audience, I will. I am C. Michael Robinson. I am a former public servant. I am Pennsylvania's first openly HIV positive public official in its history, and I'm very proud of that. I'm a former political staffer. I worked for the Pennsylvania House of Representatives. I've worked for Philadelphia City Council, former chief of staff and council. So I have worked both in front and behind the veil in multiple capacities. And now, as a non government employee and kind of just somebody who's um, enjoying life, but also trying to get more involved in local and national conversations, particularly around Black and queer folks, so that they can understand what systems are at play, what's really happening. Because if you are not, civically literate, then you're going to have no idea what's going on. But you also have to realize even folks who did receive a civic education aren't necessarily civically literate, and that's by design. So my role is to come in and try and, get people to see things through a different lens and identify solutions for some of the issues that we're collectively experiencing.
Well, I'm so happy to have you here on the platform, and we have a lot to discuss today, and I'm excited, honey. Uh,
Me too.
Also, for those of y'all watching, make sure y'all share the live so we can get people in here so we can have robust conversation. Okay, so I want to start. Well, Okay, so yeah, today just a reminder, we're just gonna have a deep dive on the Texas Democratic primary that took place yesterday.
Mhm.
As of today, James Tallarico was declared winner of the primary,
Mhm.
and it is what it is. Now, those of y'all who know, I voted early. I voted for Jasmine Crockett. I have no shame in that. I don't feel bad about that. If I had the chance to vote for her, I would vote for her again. I just feel like in politics, we need people that are. I'm only really interested in people that are going to take risk. And I know when you're doing the calculus and analysis, particularly in Texas, you want people who are risk averse because you want to try to get as many people as possible. But I'm just tired of the same old. I'm tired of the status quo, and I don't have anything personal against James Tallarico, but I just, in my personal opinion, I feel like we've seen him before, or we've seen versions of him before, and
On both sides of the aisle.
yeah, and I don't think I don't think that whatever energy is galvanizing behind him, I don't think that's going to be enough to overcome an incumbent when people are having to choose between two white guys in 2026. I just don't. I like. I logically, I get on paper why he won, and we're definitely going to talk about that. We're going to look at the map of Texas. We're going to look at the results. We're going to do that, but feeling wise, he doesn't make me feel anything one to vote for him. And I don't feel like if he gets elected and if he goes to the Senate, I don't I see him as MAGA light, or I see him as Republican light. I don't see him as really nudging us or pushing us over the edge or really standing for something in ways that I think Jasmine Crockett can and would have stood based on what she's already done in the House of Representatives. Just you weren't able to because you don't live in Texas, but what are your just initial feelings about just Crockett versus Tallarico?
Well, thank you for inviting me again on to this episode just to talk about the issue. My grandfather's from Wharton, Texas, so I do have a deep connection to Texas and its politics. But I generally would not speak, especially like as a public official. I would not have been able to speak on something like this. But now that as an observer, just kind of watching how things unfolded within her congressional career and how that kind of led to this pivot, aside from being gerrymandered, her district being
Right.
essentially gerrymandered to the point where she would not win regardless. And that kind of forcing her to seek a new opportunity, which would have been that Senate bid for a statewide seat. And I think that, there were several mistakes on the party level that led to ultimately her being beat out by James Tallarico. One, I think the party was hesitant to support Jasmine because they view her as a progressive member of Congress. Though I do think that she's done a hell of a job separating herself from the Progressive Caucus over the last year. I do think ultimately her progressive values that we've all seen effectively made her a threat to the Democratic Party. And ultimately, they did not throw their support behind her, which is how James Tallarico was able to beat her. I think a perfect example is last night I got a victory lap text message from James Tallarico's team, obviously not from him directly. I haven't gotten anything from Jasmine Crockett's team, which makes me think that James had that money.
Was already
He had enough money to text me at least 5 or 6 times last week, and I'm not even a Democratic voter in Texas. So what does that tell you about the Democratic establishment?
well, it was reported that he outraised her triple fold.
Right.
Even
Okay.
even with the APAC money that she allegedly took, like he was still able to outraise her triple fold, and it just begs the question why the system, even before we get to the people that voted for him, why are we, and I feel like I've been critiquing the system all week. Why is the system so easy to support this unknown white man when you have this black woman with this
with a
track.
record.
And I
Right.
think as of now, there's a pattern. It's just a pattern on paper. We have her, we have Kamala
Nina
Harris,
Turner.
we have Nina Turner, we have Stacey Abrams
Yep.
for the governor of Georgia. So it becomes a pattern of
As a
using.
Black woman, what do you think that's about? I want you to define it.
Well, let me see if I screenshotted this. It was a post I was looking at today. Basically, well, one it's racism and misogyny. That's what I think it is.
Mhm.
But
Agreed.
it's people are comfortable in the Democratic Party in particular with us with using our labor to get to where they need to be.
Right.
But then when it's time to position us for to position us for leadership or to platform us so that we can take the next step, that just never seems to connect, or that support is never, it just doesn't seem to be replicated. So it just creates the cycle where like our labor and our physical bodies are used to galvanize support or are used to move the needle, but when it
Yeah.
comes time for us to actually lead, people are not willing to take the risk, or people are risk averse. People are.
Well, yeah, I mean, and unless you're one of us, like a Hakeem Jeffries, who has worked diligently to work within the parameters of the establishment or the Democratic establishment, they'll be willing. Well, first he had to wait how long to be put into leadership or to be invited into leadership by the Democrats. So there's that, right? Like they made him work 10 times harder still to get that position. But also, comparatively, his politics are relatively moderate, right? Like they're geared towards the Black middle class or the middle class in general. Whereas Jasmine, who sometimes took those kind of like middle income positions on certain issues, didn't have a problem aligning herself with the most with folks who had the most to lose or who were already at the bottom of the political influence spectrum, if you will.
Yeah, and again, I'm not saying that she like Jasmine was the most progressive, radical Democrat. I'm not saying that, and I'm never saying that, and I do have my questions and concerns. However, Jasmine has a resume, and I don't like there's no reason to me that there's no reason in my mind that she did not have what it takes to do the job, because she's technically already do, like, how much more did she need to show and prove? How much more did other folks really need to show and prove? So
And I
because
believe she had 2 consecutive terms in
right,
Congress. Yeah, that's enough time. I mean, do I think that 2-year terms in Congress are a bit outdated? I do. I don't think that there's anything that anybody can really get done in Congress or for their districts if they are continuously having to rerun every 7 months to a year, which
right,
is exactly what happens when you have a 2-year term limit.
yeah, and
So, on top of it all, the Democratic Party had no problem using Jasmine Crockett as a token, which I think was a huge problem. I remember when she was here in Philadelphia 2 years ago for the Juneteenth parade. Like she was the featured guest for Philadelphia's Juneteenth parade. And it was just like, love her. Love that she's from Texas, loving that she's, but she's not like even coming here to like talk about what Juneteenth means authentically, because we have a very like commodified Juneteenth celebration here. But they parade the Democratic Party and the establishment and the Democratic National Committee specifically paraded her around like a trophy, only to abandon her in the end. And I find that despicable.
and again, it's a pattern. It's a pattern, and because we already went through the stuff with Kamala, like this time it was more annoying. Although, like, I have optimism, but I'm cautiously optimistic. But it's just annoying because there's always so many opportunities to get it right, and we just fumble the ball every time. And then she was in a rock and a hard place because she was campaigning for a whole new part of Congress or the legislature while she was actively in her representative seat, while her representative seat was wholly erased because of gerrymandering. So I
And
know
and
she
and
was.
let me be clear on that process, right? No matter what the rules are, whether it's state reapportionment or federal reapportionment, that is a very cooperative process. So you will not be able to tell me that Democrats didn't have their hand in that. They absolutely did, and there were a group of Democratic leaders who would have ultimately um, either fought for her behind closed doors and then came out in front of the cameras and said we fought for her, or did nothing. Those are really the two options.
Y'all, before we go to the next part of the conversation, just some housekeeping. I appreciate y'all for watching the live. Please like and share the live. And thank you all for your support. Now we're going to go to the next, where I want to take the conversation next, just to give some background on what happened last night. I'm gonna do a screen share. Let me make sure all of the porno sites are gone, so I won't. Okay, so let's start
I'd be
here.
lying if I say I didn't do the same thing.
We're politicals, but we're human beings with needs, wants, and
Mm.
desires. So let me make this bigger. Let me do it on here. Hopefully, y'all can see this. So according to Houston Public Media, Austin State Representative James Tallarico beat Dallas Representative Jasmine Crockett in the Democratic U.S. primary for the U.S. Senate, prevailing in a tight race that boosted the party's hopes for a statewide win in November. With all but one of Texas's counties and 85% of its polling locations reporting, Tallarico had received 53.1% of the vote compared to 45.6% of the vote for Crockett, according to the Texas Secretary of State's office. The Associated Press early Wednesday morning called the race in favor of Tallarico, who got a surge of exposure and financial backing at the start of early voting after his appearance on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, was scrapped from the CBS broadcast but viewed by millions on YouTube. We're about to take back Texas, Tallarico said in a Wednesday morning statement, referring to Democrats' quest of winning a statewide election for the first time in more than 30 years. In the November general election, Tallarico will face the winner of the Republican primary, which is headed to a May 26th runoff between incumbent Senator John Cornyn and Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, aka the Devil. Okay. So yeah, just to give a little. So again, it is what it is. Tech. It is what it is. Jasmine Crockett did not prevail. The reality is Tallarico is the Democratic nominee and will be facing whoever prevails in the Republican runoff in November. So it is what it is. But I just feel like it's just a lot of conversations and a lot of commentaries, and there's a lot of things that people who have been supporting Tallarico have done that they can't take back. And no longer am I going to be quiet about the racism and the sexism that I'm viewing, and the fact that y'all don't want us to talk about it. I think is problematic, and I think people are mischaracterizing people that voted for Jasmine as supporting Jasmine as being divisive and being divisive in a party or being reactionary. But from what I have seen, I've had the opposite experience. So we'll talk about that a little more. I also want to go here before. Let me go share this. Let me stop this and share this screen. Which one is this? Okay, so we're gonna go to NBC News. So we can
Okay.
just see a breakdown of, and let me
The
see if I
county
can.
breakdown.
Yes. Okay,
Yeah.
so this is Texas. So the really, really dark blue, let me pull the key up,
That's
is,
Tallarico.
yeah, that's where Tallarico won. So the really, really dark blue is Tallarico. The sky blue or the lighter blue is Jasmine Crockett, where she won. And then this teal color is Hassan. I don't really know who that is.
Ahmad Hassan.
Ahmad Hassan. Okay, yeah,
Mhm.
I don't really know. So it looks like, so this is Harris County down here, which is the largest county in Houston. It looks like Crockett won here in Harris County, about 52% of the vote. So she won here. Then we have our Dallas Fort Worth area county. So in Dallas, she won. And then in Tarrant County, which houses Fort Worth, Texas, she won
Mhm.
there. And it looks like the eastern part of the state of Texas, which is technically considered part of the American South for the people that are being shady. East Texas is basically deep South as well. It doesn't surprise me that she kind of led. She led in those counties because those counties are
Right.
really black.
Yeah,
Um,
they're connected to the shadow slavery and African American history in the state of Texas at large. I think that that western section is more closely tied to Western culture, and you know I'm an Angelino, so I get it, but also you hit the nail on the head. That is a blacker section of the state and a more densely populated section, might I add.
yes, yes, it is. So it looks like in Austin, which is Tallarico's home, um, in Travis County, he won there. And then let's look at the San Antonio County, so Bexar County, and I think Comal and some of those other counties. He won by, well, a large margin there. And then
Yeah.
let's go over to El Paso, where Tallarico won in El Paso. So yeah, this map, it tells a story. Oh, it looks like she won a county down in the Rio Grande Valley area, but it looks like I'm gonna let you go. What is this map saying to you?
Well, what it's saying to me is that Jasmine's team, maybe even some folks or supporters within the DNC, focused a little bit too much on the Houston and Dallas metro areas and not enough in the counties that have more sparse Democratic participation or folks who are going to require more. Um, Persuasion, right?
Right.
I think that they took the easy way out, and I think Ernest Owens kind of articulated this earlier today, who is a Philadelphian but also a native Houstonian. Did I say that right? Houstonian, or is
Houston.
it Houstonian? Houstonian, okay, a native Houstonian, and he was advising kind of the same thing, like you know Texas has its own voting patterns, its own history, its own sociocultural issues. And if you are not being mindful of that while you're running a campaign down there, especially if you're going to be relying on national strategists as opposed to regional ones, that's you're going to continue to lose races like this down south, especially these statewide races where it wouldn't be that difficult for a Democrat to win in a climate like this. But if you are not actively working to connect with the people that you're looking to represent, they're going to know and they're going to go with what's familiar. And I think Talia Rico represents what's familiar to them.
Okay, so let's go down a little further and look at the, how do we get out of the counties? And okay, let's look at overall votes. Okay. So it looks like as of right now, 97.4% of the votes are in. It looks like about 1.2 million people voted for Tallarico, and then
Mm-hmm.
a little over 1 million voted for Jasmine Crockett. So
Mhm.
zooming out and putting this into context, this is not a blowout. This is
No.
not, this is not, this is not a blowout. I Each candidate got over 1 million votes. I think that's very good. Also, it's been reported that this is the highest turnout for like a Democratic Party for a Democratic primary in over 20 years. So it's a very high turnout. So even though I can walk and chew gum at the same time, even though Jasmine Crockett did not win, considering the issues with her local campaign,
Mhm.
considering her getting into the race late or announcing late, because that was another critique that I saw, is that she waited for other people to drop out of the primary before she announced, particularly Colin Alred. Um, Considering all of that, for her and him to have over 1 million, I all hope is not lost to me. All hope is not lost to me. It's not, it's not a blowout. It's not a blowout where she needs to walk away with her tail tucked between her legs. Also what it's saying to me is James Tallarico in camp. What are you going to do to bring the Jasmine Crockett people to your side? And
Well,
what?
I don't, and mm,
Because like, let's be clear, 1.2 million votes in November alone is not going to be enough to win in a Democrat versus Republican contest. Like, it's just
no,
not.
it's not. Not a statewide contest. Um, I will say this, you know, what is Congress going to look like without Jasmine Crockett? What is the culture going to look like
Well,
in the next year or two?
apparently, in the redrawn district, she's being succeeded by this black pastor.
Hmm.
Did you hear about that?
I did. I saw that he won and that he is also he also came out against the Palestinian conflict and Israel's role in it. So I saw that last night as well. So I'm energized by what I saw, but also that's just a clip. And I know that identity politics is not the end all be all um, for any legislative race.
So hold on. Before I'm gonna get back to the breakdown of what happened last night, but just to lift Reverend Frederick Haynes up, and he looks familiar. It looks like I've seen him on
Mhm.
like Roland Martin or somewhere. He looks like one of. Let me. Why are
You're
you
letting
thinking?
your middle
Why are
class
you?
conservatism show.
Well, we know how I feel about Roland Martin, but like I can only do Roland Martin in doses because I just don't like people yelling at me all the time. It's no shade.
But I also would prefer Roland Martin over a lot of people on MSNBC
Oh yes, I do. Yeah.
any day,
Okay.
hands down.
So Reverend Frederick Douglass Haynes III won the Democratic primary for Texas's 30th congressional district on Tuesday night, according to CBS News projections, positioning the longtime Dallas pastor as the overwhelming favorite to represent the heavily Democratic seat in Congress. He is the senior pastor of Friendship West Baptist Church in Dallas. He's been an advocate for civil rights and social justice issues in North Texas and leads one of the region's largest Black churches with a congregation of more than 13,000 members.
Oh, he runs a mega church.
I don't like the way you said that.
Was it loaded?
Yes. Let me see.
I'm gonna let it go for today.
Let me see if there's a picture of what. Let me see what this um Texas 30th congressional district map. I know this is about to look ridiculous.
Hmm.
I know it's about to be a kiki. Okay, but bitch.
What had happened?
Okay, I need to.
I'm just adjusting the screen on this phone. You know, it's a little difficult. We're on mobile devices, but
Ooh, that's girl. Girl, you can barely see it.
What's that? What are we looking at?
Hold on, I'm about to pull it up. Oh, this is shade, bitch.
Oh, you're
Okay.
having a hard time finding the apportionments?
Oh, this is shade. Hold on.
It's not surprising.
Let's see, because I'm like, because the thing said he only got like 70,000 votes. I'm like, girl, that's not that much. And now I know why.
Frederick
Uh,
Douglass Haynes.
okay, so y'all, these are the newly redrawn maps. So let me see if I can make this bigger. It's very tiny. So right here, where you can see my mouse, this little dot right here on the southern part of Dallas County, that is the district that Reverend Haynes won. This little
So
dot.
was there more, there's more density that's occurred in that district? Is that why it's smaller now? It seems smaller than it
Well, no,
was.
it's smaller because that's where the black people live at in Dallas County.
Hmm.
It used to be larger than this. And then after it got redistricted, it basically got cut in half.
It got cut in half, but I guess my question, and of course, this I'm not in Texas politics. What's the criteria for reapportionment? Right? Like I could understand if, like, say, there were a thousand apartment, multi-unit apartment complexes built within a 10-year period in this area, and easily 68 to 100,000 more residents moved in since 2000, let's say. 16. I could totally imagine why they would make that area smaller because, again, there's a higher density, right? But if there's no higher density, I'm just wondering what the criteria. Texas, what y'all got going on out there? Like, what's what's the math
Racism,
looking like?
racism, that's what we have going on. That's why we got this weird ass map where you have the most populous. Well, Dallas is the second most populous county, but even looking at,
Right.
let's look at Harris County down here. You have the most populous county with all of these weird, like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, look at Harris County.
Mhm.
Look at, like, look at it. Looks
And how did that little orange section get carved out? That must be the wealthy side of town.
right. It's just, yeah. This
I
is
think we know somebody that lives down there.
and this is Austin right here, and then this is San Antonio and Bexar County.
Yeah.
And then look at that. Look at this Dallas and Fort Worth. This is strange. Okay, so we gave context on Reverend
Hmm.
Hank. So shout out to him. It looks like he won with 76,000 votes. So shout out to him. He got 72% of the vote. But just wanted to just show y'all like what we are up against in Texas. Like
Yeah.
just the reality of how hard it is and how through these redistricting and all of these cases to determine if these redrawn maps are constitutional, how our
Yeah.
power is currently being truncated.
Yeah.
But back to the main story. Let's get back. Let's get back. And shout out to all of y'all who are viewing. I see some new viewers in here. Shout out to y'all. Also, we have some comments. Going to pull those up. So, would love to hear your deeper thoughts on this for sure. Shout out to you, Mateo. And it looks like Mateo commented again. Do you think Talrico has the backing and power to defeat the incumbent, or do you think Jasmine could have?
I
Um,
think that. Oh, go ahead, Bree.
no, go ahead.
I think that Tallarico will likely get the support from the DNC. Watch how this happens. The DNC, local committees, they're going to throw money at him. They're going to they're going to stomp the pavement for him. Um, and again, they're going to incorporate that strategy I was talking about earlier. Jasmine, unfortunately, like any black politician who is operating outside of an establishment framework, you're going to have to start the work that would generally get done during the general election, during the primary election, right? You need to bring as many people in to your team. I think one of the biggest issues that Black politicians in Texas, in California, and other kind of Southwestern um, um, regions is there's a deep history of distrust between Black and Hispanic specifically, and I'm saying that with intention, Hispanic communities. And when you look at Texas's demographics, especially in those less densely populated areas that are kind of like swing districts, you see a large Hispanic and Latinx population. But if you're not doing anything to connect with those voters and let them know, hey, I see you, I see your experience, and here's how I can relate it. Let's see what we like. Like, you have to be willing to engage with people, especially people of a different a different ideological purview. And I don't see a lot of our Black politicos, and I didn't see Jasmine Crockett's team doing enough of that. Now, Talarico's going to trend well with those folks, and we can explore the sociocultural reasons as to why he'll trend well with them. But I don't think he's going to have a hard time getting or securing that Senate seat when the general comes around.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Jasmine wasn't engaging in like those type of ways, but I feel like from what she has done with her current tenure, and maybe she didn't publicize that enough, especially when it came to like conversations about ICE and just how she's shown up in that space. I really think she's shown us that she has the ability to step outside of her own quote unquote coalition to care about issues that don't directly impact her or the people like directly in her dish. I think she's shown that. Maybe she just didn't communicate that well in the context of this campaign for this particular seat.
Right.
But I think she has shown that. I think Talarico is going to get the backing and power from the DNC and all of the Texas Democrats. Like I think that he's going to get it. I just don't know if it's going to be enough to overcome the Republican stronghold that is Texas, because even the Republicans can just distance themselves from being a MAGA Republican, but like, let's be clear, Texas is still going to be Republican for a while. And again, I'm not seeing a big dramatic difference between whoever this incumbent is and what James Talarico is going to offer. Just as far as like, because it's just, I know people are really excited about Talarico because he's a faith man and he can reach across the aisle. But I think those are things, even with how problematic the MAGA party has been, I think these are things that can be said about whoever the Republican candidate is. Like, these are values that can be leaned on into other side, and to me, it doesn't make that much of a differentiation. Are you there? Did your phone die?
No, I'm here. I'm just grabbing my coffee. I didn't want to do it on camera.
Oh, you didn't want to show you didn't want to show the people you ingesting caffeine.
No, I don't mind showing you guys showing you guys me ingesting it. I just had to go up and down the stairs to get it from the driver.
Okay. I just don't know if James Talarico as a person, if he's going to be saying things that whoever the Republican nominee is able to absorb from themselves. Now, what I will say is this: if given this Republican runoff, because they're going to have a runoff in May, if Paxton wins, which I don't know how he should win, but if he wins, I think because Ken Paxton has been so egregious with everything that he's been doing in his current role as Texas Attorney General, I think just how Kim Paxton Lee is so much of an outlier, even for the Republican Party itself. I think that would be enough dissonance for people to want to support James Tallarico. But I think it's going to depend on that Republican runoff race, and it's really going to depend on how James Tallarico and his camp really engage all of the people that voted for Jasmine Crockett, because I think it's easy to discount Dallas and Houston, but at the end of the day, we are the largest city populations in the state. We're the largest metro area populations in the state. So you do need us. You do need us, and to just discount like the things that we've been saying and that we are experiencing. There has to be trust that once you use us and once you get into office, that you're not going to abandon us. And this is a story that we've seen time and time again, especially with white male candidates who court the
Yeah.
black vote. Who I'm specifically thinking about. It was not the mayoral race in the state of Alabama, but I think it was like the attorney general race, where that race was carried largely by black women voters who supported this white man. And then I believe something happened where he kind of just threw black people under the bus like years later.
Yeah.
So like
Well, and
we've
I
seen.
think you bring up one of the points that I was hoping that we could explore today was, you know, black voters are used as a tool to get what the Democratic Party or the Republican Party really wants. But when it comes to our collective social capital, we don't really have much. You don't see, you can't, well, our institutions that are most influential are churches, right? Churches aren't getting directly involved in electioneering or even like PAC work, because whether folks want to admit it or not, or they want to act like pay for play doesn't exist, pay for play exists in every state in the union, in every political system in the union. They may call it something else, but at the end of the day, it is pay for play. If we don't get ourselves together, and I was just having this conversation with Black queer folks here in Philly, they utilize us as tokens when they want to look like they're doing something for pride, or they want to look like they're progressives. But the same people that prop us up like trophies haven't passed a economic policy that directly impacts us in the 26 years that we've been having Black Pride. And that exists across other populations, whether it's Black older people. We don't have what is it? What's that organization? AARP, right? Now imagine if there was an AARP like organization whose focus were Black and brown seniors. How powerful would an organization like that be, that has the green to actually lobby on behalf of the needs of Black Americans? If we don't start as leaders within these spaces, if we don't start creating those institutions, we will continue to find ourselves at this end of the conversation asking, what happened? That's what happened. We don't have the social capital, and we will not have it until we collectivize. But they're banking on the fact that we'll just continue to not communicate with each other.
Thank you for sharing that. And I just want to bring up the person that I referenced. His name is Doug Jones. Let me share the screen just so we can take it back. Doug Jones. So yeah, this is back in 2017. I know I heard this where Doug Jones So Doug Jones' victory in Alabama relied heavily on a key component, the Democratic coalition, African American voters. What the hell was he running for? What the hell was he? He was running against Ray Moore, a historic racist.
Of course.
Okay, so this was a Senate race. Okay.
A state Senate or U.S. Senate?
I think this was a U.S. Senate race. Let me see. What did I say? Doug Jones.
Yes.
Doug Jones.
Oh yeah. If it has this many counties, I'm assuming it's a U.S.
Okay,
Senate.
yeah, he was a American politician and attorney who served as a U.S. senator from Alabama from 28 to 2021. So yeah, this is a Senate race.
That was short lived. I wonder what happened.
Yeah.
And you said he was from you said 20 from what
28
years?
2018 to 2021.
Oh, he was finishing out somebody's term.
2018 to 2021.
Because I believe the senatorial terms are 7 years. So it sounds like he was a shoo-in to finish somebody's term.
Yeah, but again, I brought that up because I was like, we've heard this before, and like just with all of the racist talk and how people who are supporting James Talarico and just people that are just hypercritical of Black women in these positions in ways they're not critical of non-Black people or non-Black women in these positions. Like there needs to be an intentional pathway to address it for me to get excited to vote for him, because being honest, I'm not saying I'm not voting, but I'm not doing a down ticket. I'm definitely not voting for the Republican, but I just won't be
Mhm.
voting at all for that seat, because I don't feel like by sending him to office that it's going to be more of the same. And
Yeah.
I already did it with Joe Biden. I already
I
did
I
it.
don't even think down ballot voting is something that the Democrats started, pushing for again, because there was a period of time that they weren't. Um, it was really like you heard Republicans pushing the down ballot voting narrative. Then when certain progressive parties like Working Families Party secured their own ballot line in New York, that's when down ballot voting became a threat for the Democrats, and that's when you started hearing them adopt this ideology of down ballot voting. But realistically, in a two-party system where you don't have a third party even on a ballot with its own ballot line, down ballot voting really means nothing. Um, and frankly, I think that the messaging behind down ballot voting is another form of voter suppression, but that's probably another conversation for another day.
So, Mateo said, "Thanks for explaining that. Deep appreciation. Thank you for engaging, Mateo." Okay, so now that we talked business and we got all that out the way and we were very
Mhm.
impartial, let's get to the shit that's been pissing me the fuck off, and that
Go right for
it
it.
just has to be addressed. Um, if there is to be some unification, it has to be addressed, and I need to see something different, because a lot of y'all have been wilding. Okay, let's start here. What we let's start here. What we cannot miss from the story, we had high turnout. It was great turnout, and um but we cannot act like Talarico's victory like it was an even and clear victory, like it was like there were no obstacles. And what we cannot ignore is that there was active voter suppression
Yeah.
at play here, in the Texas Democratic primary. It just is what it is. There was suppression. A lot of it was as a result of these redistrict maps, where there are a lot of these new rules where places that people could go vote for years now, they have to go to new locations, or they can't. If they live in a county, they have to vote in that particular county. They can't. And when we think about how convenient that is for everyday working blue collar people, people who are not able to take off, um, even though there was a larger turnout, we don't know how much higher the turnout could have been had
Hmm.
people not have been turned away. And I know that Talarico recently, within like the past couple of hours, has mentioned voter suppression and what how it's
In districts that he won.
well, how we have to be mindful of it when it probably contributed to him winning. But we just have to be very intentional about addressing it and not leaving that out from our critique when people are like gloating that Jasmine Crockett lost. So I want to
But I
play.
think also, voters, so like you just pointed out, voter suppression helped Tallarico win this election in those counties and in those areas where he was likely unknown, right? Who are likely swing areas. But again, when you have Democratic committees of these, count now we're talking county committees, right? Because you have Democratic committees on the local level in your cities, sometimes even in your neighborhoods, right? Then you have the county Democratic committees. Then you
Mhm.
have your state Democratic committees, and then you have your the DNC, right? Which probably has field offices in all of these states to keep tabs on the state and local committees. Um, when our elders say the fish rots from the head, yes, the DNC is a problem, but these local committees are also the problem. You had local committees that chose to rally behind James Tallarico, not because he was the most qualified candidate. I don't know his record in the state legislature, so I'm not going to say that he was not an effective legislator on the state level, right? Because I don't have that history in front of me. But if you're telling me that a sitting U.S. Congresswoman doesn't understand the or understands the mechanics of Senate less than a state representative does, and that you're going to rally and utilize your social capital to elevate a state representative to not the lower chamber, the upper chamber of the Senate, right? Why did you do that? What's the reason that you saw him as a viable candidate? And I think it will always boil down to race. And the Democrats are going to really have to start sitting with the fact that they're playing with a very they're playing the game very dangerously, and that there are people that see what they're doing, and that strategy is not going to be effective in the next 10 years. People are getting sick and tired of watching you guys again, tokenize Black bodies, tokenize even like Latinx bodies, right? You get us to a certain place, and the moment that we don't fit into your little mold, the campaign to silently tear us down commences.
I'm looking for this video that I saw yesterday, basically where Simone Sanders was talking about how the Dallas
Mhm.
Democrats basically dropped the ball because there's typically a MOU that was in place that that was not signed, or hold on, was not signed or something.
For an
And
endorsement.
no, for like it has something to do. Let me see. It's crazy how I cannot find this now that I'm looking for it. Where the hell is it at? I want to find the video because I think it kind of helps paint the
Mhm.
picture of what you are talking about.
Mhm.
Lord, please. Okay, I see Michael Steele. Where is she at? But keep talking if you have any more thoughts while I find this video, because I really think it hammers the point that you are trying to make. It hammers that point home, but it also shows how the system at multiple levels fail
Yeah.
to protect the process to not just benefit Jasmine
Well, I'm
Crockett.
looking here now at her list of endorsements, and one, let me say this again, for a sitting Democratic Congresswoman who has national notoriety, right? Like you say, Jasmine Crockett has the same, if not more, notoriety. No, I won't say if not more. Jasmine Crockett has the same notoriety that uh, Auntie Maxine had in what was that 2017-18 when she went viral. Jasmine has been on a roll for a long time since she got into Congress, and she's been, we know her name no matter where you go. I'm looking at the list of endorsements. Most of them are from national organizations. Very few of them are from local political organizations. I see Dallas County East Democrats was one of the political committees that endorsed her. I see the El Paso Young Democrats endorsed her. I see the Mexican American Bar Association of Dallas endorsed her. Now, that's a surprise considering how low she trended in areas that more than likely have a high percentage of Mexican American Democratic voters. I'm looking at Northeast Bexar County Democrats. They endorsed her.
Okay, that's San Antonio area.
Okay, Stonewall Democrats of Dallas and San Antonio. The Stonewall Democrats of San Antonio endorsed her. I mean, when you look at the map of Texas, how many counties are there? There's probably over 25, 30 counties in the entire state, if not more.
There's probably double or triple that because Texas
right.
is big.
And so now if I'm going to pull up Tallarico's in a moment, just because I want to see comparatively, what were his endorsements looking like? And if he had, you know what? I'm going to reserve my comments. I'm going to put some candy in my mouth so I can shut up. So don't judge me, everybody watching. And I'm going to let you play this clip while I pull up some more research.
Okay. So this was from last night on MS Now. I'm forever going to call this MSNBC, bitch.
Yeah, because please, girl, stop playing in our face.
Now that we got that out the way.
At this moment, which is why it needs such an incredible political enema, unlike any we've ever seen.
It's quite a visual. Thank you for that.
Thank you very much. A biblical one. A biblical one.
Simone Sanders Townsend, you have been all over this in terms of anticipating some of these problems in these specific counties. What do you understand about the way this has played out over the course of the night and the reaction to what's happened with the Texas courts?
So I talked to a number of people on the ground from the Texas Democratic Party because, again, the parties are the administrators of the elections in a primary. This does not apply for the general. So in the general, the state is in charge of the election. So if people think, oh, are we going to have this particular issue come November? No, could be a different issue, but not this one. Lawrence and I were chatting in the green room, and he said, does this also affect the Republicans? And I thought it was a very good question. I asked the chair of the Texas Democratic Party, and the chair said it is their understanding that the judge's order is specific to the Democratic primary because, again, they didn't do a joint primary. So it is only the Democratic votes in Dallas County. The particular law that is being cited, Texas Democrats at large, they, if we look at the lawsuit that was filed by the Dallas County Democrats, not the Texas Democratic Party. I say that because there are factions within the Texas Democratic Party that say, Texas law is very, very strict. And it's very strict about when people can vote. Texas law, a law from 1985, says that the voting in Texas is from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. There's only been one time in our recent history since that law it's 40 years. Law is older than me. It's only been one time in our history, in May of 2024, that an extension has been given, and that was very specific. In Dallas County, a judge said there was a disaster because power was out in polling places in May of 2024. And because the power was out in about 100 polling places, they needed to extend the voting in those polling places. And that voting was extended for that very particular reason. But tonight, what we are seeing, to the conversation you all were having earlier, is the first time that this 1985 law has been challenged directly in this way. And yes, it is the Ken Paxton, who is a candidate on the ballot. Again, this doesn't affect them. It's just about the Democrats. They are weaponizing a law that has been on the books for 40 years to throw chaos into what is happening in the Democratic Party. The last point I'll make is this. There are a lot of votes out there. No one's going to count their chickens before they hatch, or their eggs, if you will. We have not heard from I've reached out to people within the Tallarico campaign. They are not saying whether or not yet they are of the belief that Jasmine Crockett is, that we will not know tonight. They are reserving their comment. So if they have some comment, I'll come back. I know Eugene is also talking to them. But I think that we are in a place now where Come to tomorrow, there'll be some people that'll say, Jasmine Crockett lost this race because of what Republicans did. And then there'll be some people that say, oh, I think she just lost this race because she didn't run a good campaign. Either way, the narrative on this is now up in the air because of what the Republican in Texas decided to do to play in the race.
I was going to say that to me is the most important.
Thoughts?
She hit the nail on the head. And while you were doing that, I just happened to pull up James Tallarico's endorsements.
Okay, let's hit it.
As I said earlier, James Tallarico, it looks like he received probably 4 times more endorsements than from whether they're Democratic clubs or PACs. He received about 4 times more endorsements than Jasmine did. A majority of them are from varying Democratic affinity caucuses or Democratic committees, local or county committees. So we've got Area 5 Democrats, Asian American Democrats of Texas Caucus, Asian Americans Democratic Club of Texas, Austin Young Democrats, Bay Area Democratic Movement, Bexar County Young Democrats, Coalition of Democratic Allies, Collin County Young Democrats, Cowtown Democrats.
I thought you was about to say Colin Kaepernick Democrats. I was like,
that would be a key. Democrats of LaPorte, Democrats Work for America, East Wilco Democrats Club, Gun Sense voters, Harris County Tejano Democrats, Hayes County Young Democrats. So the Tejano population of Harris County gathered behind a white adjacent Democrat over a woman of color. I wonder what prompted that. And that was just half the list, mind you. Then you have several major newspapers that endorsed him, which I think obviously helped him out. Latinas United PAC, Liberal Austin Democrats, McKinney Area Democratic Club, No Dem Left Behind PAC, Northeast Bexar County, Texas Democrats, Northeast Travis County, Texas Democrats, Pflugerville Area Democrats, Plano Area Democrats, Preston Hollow Democrats, Progressive Change Committee Campaign Committee, Richardson Area Democrats, and State Tejano Democrats. So you have a major group of political committees across the state that had even just half of those endorsements went to Jasmine Crockett, would have probably helped her secure that seat. The questions that I have are, first, for her team, what did y'all do to bolster support for her in these areas that ultimately endorsed him? Did you have any presence, or did you take that whole Democratic laziness route, which is like, oh, well, we're not going to win here anyway, so it doesn't matter? There were never enough votes in Dallas and Houston to secure that seat past a general. I'm not going to blame her for this because I know that anti-Black racism went into voters not aligning themselves with her. But a lot of voters do what the Democratic committees say. And if the Democratic committees are the ones that are saying she's not a viable candidate and actively working to put somebody who doesn't even have any experience with the U.S. Senate to elevate him to the highest chamber of this country's legislature over a Black woman, I think that says a lot about the collective morality of the Democratic Party. And that's what needs to change.
And when you talk of endorsements, I have to say this, although this is nuanced. So the caucus, which is the LGBT political org in Houston, I'm surprised you didn't read their name on their voter card. Look who they end up.
I didn't even see that because it doesn't really identify them as Houston's LGBTQ caucus. So you're right.
Well,
they're on here too.
The oldest and largest LGBT political caucuses in the country. in the Deep South. So yeah, they endorsed James Tallarico. So there were a lot of questions left unanswered, but I'm keeping it cute because I am connected to members of the board now. I know they have a new Black lead, and there are more Black people on their board of directors. And I know at the time the endorsements were made, they weren't in place. So I know there is a changing of the guards, but when I saw this a couple of weeks ago, it was very telling. And of course, I had to voice my opinion on it, but I'm not going to go in too much because I know there is a new guard in there and they're trying to, do what they can. But it was just very interesting.
I'm sure. And I'm going to challenge all of those leaders in Texas who are now assuming these positions. What are you doing this for? Are you doing this for power? Are you doing this to ensure fair elections, clean elections, right? Because that's what our Democratic committees are, the holders of clean and fair elections. They ensure that information gets to the voters that it needs to. Now, I've lived in 6 jurisdictions here in Philadelphia, right? Over the course of my 6 years being back here. We have an elected office. The lowest elected office we have here is committee person. And not once has my committee person ever knocked on my door with information on who the Democrats are endorsing. Yet that is their main function. And that system exists in every state, in every city, and whether it's ward leader, alderman, if you're not hearing from your committee person, your Democratic committee person, and you're a Democratic voter, then you need to be at that next Democratic committee meeting, whether it's on the county or the local level, and you need to be holding them to the fire and withhold your vote from them or run against them if you feel like you've got the chops. But don't get into that seat, because we saw that here in Delaware County, Pennsylvania, where they gave a whole bunch of Black people leadership roles so that they could help, quote unquote, flip Delco Blue, which is a long, mob stronghold. And the moment that those Black folks assumed office in multiple boroughs and townships across Southeast Delco, the Democratic Party abandoned them. They gave them no resources to effectively do their job. Then they tried to be like, oh, you guys aren't doing the job right, you need to go, and gave their jobs to MAGA Republicans who switched parties and then gave them leadership roles. And I'm quite sure that that's an issue, or that's something that exists across the nation in these Democratic committees. So, there needs to be more participation at the end of the day. I'm sorry. I know I'm rambling. You struck a nerve.
It's just where we are, and people got a lot of explaining to do, and we have some months for people to explain and for people to convince me why I should vote for Tallarico. Before you jumped in, I was going to say I do believe we can do both and we can acknowledge that Jasmine Crockett would have been great for this position because she's already doing this in another form. She already has the experience, and we can acknowledge
and relationships, because that's what being a legislator in DC is about.
Right, but also we can acknowledge that structurally here in Texas, she wasn't able to run the best campaign. And why was that? And I think that you bring up a lot of issues on the getting those endorsements. And was it because she didn't reach out to those people, or she did reach out to those people, but because decisions had already been made, they weren't as receptive to her?
I was watching some news reports. The national news were happy to put white women voters in front of the camera, particularly to have them explain why they ultimately chose to vote for Tallarico. This was during the early voting period.
That white lady that was crying.
Oh my gosh, that shit was so funny to me.
Yeah,
because I don't know who was CNN or ABC. I was like, honey, y'all knew exactly what y'all were doing when y'all did this.
Let's talk about that, because I talked about that a little bit in my last video. Like, Those are the type of allies I can't do anymore. I can't I just can't. You made the choice that you made, so stick on it. But all of this performative tears.
Yeah. I'll never forget there was a state rep in Pennsylvania when I was the borough manager of Collindale. And in response to the racism that myself and the chief of police were receiving, from white Republicans and white Democrats alike, but more so white MAGA Republicans, she started crying about how I don't know how to change the system from the inside, and I'm just doing my best. It's like, girlfriend, you're a white woman in power. I don't want to hear that shit. Like, let's be fucking for real. Let's be fucking for real. Like, y'all are playing a dirty, nasty game, and you're leveraging Black bodies to secure votes and secure your job security while actively suppressing them. There's nothing that you can say to me to justify your behavior.
Yeah, and my motto is I like to know who I'm dealing with, and I just own it. Just own it. Even with all of the evidence, you didn't take the risk. You made the convenient choice, and you can't. I don't know, and I don't. Again, going back to that initial question, even with all of the stuff that's galvanizing people, I don't know if Tallarico has enough to win, because we've seen this before. We were literally here like 2 or 3 years ago when I first moved here, when Beto was running for governor. And it's kind of giving me like wholesome, middle of the world, white man, family, roots. And
I think he has, isn't he Latinx, or he has Hispanic roots? Tallarico? I believe he does. I thought that was one of the talking points I heard.
Let me do a quick Wikipedia. James Tallarico.
It was given, I'm color too.
Okay.
Surprise.
And let's go to background. Tallarico has been called a deeply religious Christian. It was raised Presbyterian. He's active in St. Andrew's Presbyterian Church in Austin. Axios reported he followed
Presbyterian.
Axios reported he followed porn stars on Instagram. Let me see. Early life. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything about him being Latinx.
Okay. Maybe that was just some
maybe
internet
it might
fodder.
Be a Ginger Min situation when Latin history month comes up. I've never disclosed, but I'm Puerto Rican too.
I too am colored.
I never led with that. Yeah, no, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not saying anything about his Latin Latin heritage, but okay.
The jury's out on that.
So let's get back to the active voter suppression that happened yesterday.
I mean, she wouldn't let me. And I just wanted to vote here and get back to work, and she told me she wouldn't let me. I was hoping she'll just let me go in. She said I'm at the wrong place. I can't vote here.
I've always voted here, say, 8 years in a row now. I've come to this location, but now they're telling me that I need to go to another location to vote.
Did they explain why?
No, they didn't explain why. And then when I went online yesterday, because I knew they were going to try to do this, I went yesterday online to register and everything like that to find out where my poll is, and it got me nowhere.
Place where I live is far away, and I just wanted to vote here and get back to work, and she told me she wouldn't let me.
So yeah, in 2026, this is what people were dealing with yesterday.
And you know that lady probably works a blue-collar job and probably already was late. Her boss probably saw her on the news and fired her today. Like, low. And it's not fucking funny. It's funny because we're Black and we probably had similar experiences in our careers, but it's not fucking funny. My God. We're still engaging, as a society in voter suppression. And let me also be very clear, and I think I put this in one of my most recent essays. Both sides play a significant part in voter suppression, right? Albeit differently. I think that the Republican Party or the more conservative movements are more overt in their suppression tactics. But baby, that Democratic Party, they are skilled in covert suppression. And I'm gonna need some people to start peeling back the layers, because once you see it, I mean, it's not hard to find. If you ever want to know, just give me a ring ding. I'll tell you where to look. But Democrats are particularly skilled when it comes to like engaging in information suppression, specifically about particularly candidates who may not be endorsed by the party, or the Democratic Party will choose not to endorse somebody in a party, but also choose not to give out information on all of the Democratic candidates that are running. It's a slippery slope, but that is also voter suppression.
So let's get a definition of what voter suppression is for those who are unaware. Let's do a quick Wikipedia search, which is available to all of us. So voter suppression is the discouragement or prevention of specific groups of people from voting or registering to vote. It is distinguished from political campaigning in that campaigning attempts to change likely voting behavior by changing the opinions of potential voters through persuasion and organization, activating otherwise inactive voters, or registering new supporters. Voter suppression instead attempts to gain an advantage by reducing the turnout of certain voters. Suppression is an anti-democratic tactic associated with authoritarianism. The tactics of voter suppression range from changes that increase voter fatigue, intimidating, or harming prospective voters. So again, just giving a definition of what voter suppression is, because it was definitely at play in the primaries yesterday. And then these are just different ways that it can show up. Ballot design, day of experience, which those people in that news coverage were talking about how they were turned away and how things were changed at the last minute. Frequent elections or voter fatigue. Voter identification laws, which some I believe have been passed. Well, some definitely were passed here in the state of Texas. Information warfare, intimidation and violence, voter registration or enrollment. Let me see, voter apathy, and then wasted vote. So what happens in winner takes all systems. So yeah, I just wanted to do a refresh of voter suppression, because it's definitely active. It's definitely at play, and also I believe it impacted Jasmine Crockett's performance, because we don't really know how thin that margin could have been, that if everybody that wanted to vote for her was able to vote for her. And that's also why I stress the importance of early voting, so that you're not showing up on the last day. And I feel like, particularly in elections that are not presidential, I feel like whoever the powers that be, whether it be like the local Democratic parties or the DNC as a whole, they really dropped the ball of encouraging and promoting early voting for these non-presidential elections. And those mattered. Like, we really need to be encouraging people to not just show up on election day, because by then it's too late. It's too late, especially how I know mail-in voting was especially important during COVID time,
the pandemic, yeah.
Because of subsequent laws that have been passed regarding like mail-in votes and how they've become more restrictive, and they're looking for a reason to discount mail-in ballots through just a number of mechanisms. There needs to be some type of mechanism in place where we're actively encouraging people, Democrats, to show up and vote early.
I do like the idea of promoting early voting in the states that it's legal, because it's not legal in every state. I think Philadelphia County just approved early voting, but I don't think that Pennsylvania has an early voting policy, a statewide early voting policy or law in place. And so that's definitely something I'm hoping to see happen here in Pennsylvania, though I'm not hopeful because we have a tragically conservatively controlled upper chamber here in Pennsylvania. But I was never a fan of mail-in ballots. I never trusted them. And frankly, you know, even with early voting, I can't say that I'm encouraged either because a lot of our county commissioners who are responsible for maintaining transparency and maintaining the process in our elections, and even though a lot of these folks are voted within a partisan system, like judges, they're supposed to function as nonpartisans, right? And just ensure that votes are being counted, that data is being made available, and that it's being done with integrity. The integrity part, I, have grown hesitant in trusting county commissioners across the country because a lot of them are deeply ingrained in the Democratic establishment. And frankly, there's nothing in my mind that makes me doubt that county commissioners may be engaging in some sort of either voter suppression or rigging of the electoral process in their jurisdictions.
So now I want to go here and really just explain what happened in Dallas yesterday, and just to give more information.
I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Okay.
Hello?
Say something.
Breast. Chicken breast. Thigh. Chicken thigh. Y'all, we're going to take a break while C. Michael comes back in the room. We're going to take a quick break. Hello? You can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you fine.
We will not be taking a quick break. So let's get into another story just to talk about what exactly happened in Dallas County yesterday. So Texas Supreme Court stops Dallas County from counting late votes after confusion over new rules. Changes to Election Day procedures in 2 Texas counties on Tuesday led to hundreds of voters being turned away from polling places, angry recriminations from candidates, and an 11th hour scramble to delay poll closings. In a roller coaster day, Democratic voters in the Dallas area received 2 extra hours to cast their ballots after a judge intervened, only to have the state Supreme Court order the county to keep separate any votes cast during the extended voting period. But even before polls closed, Rep. Jasmine Crockett locked in a competitive ballot with State Rep. James Tallarico for the Democratic Senate nomination, raised the possibility that the confusion at the polls could shape the primary's outcome. Listen, this may be a very close election, and it may hinge on who was allowed to vote or who wasn't allowed to vote in Dallas County, she said. Regardless as to whether or not it's close, this is wrong if one person has the right to vote and they weren't allowed to cast their vote. On Tuesdays, voters in Dallas and Williamson counties had to navigate new voting rules that required them to vote at assigned precincts, a sharp departure from previous elections. The change sparked confusion, with hundreds of voters turned away from polling places and sent to the correct precincts, according to Cardall Coleman, the Dallas County Democratic Party chairman. Coleman obtained a court order to keep nearly 280 Democratic precincts in the county open until 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Texas Supreme Court late Tuesday stayed the earlier court order that had extended voting in Dallas County, ruling that any votes cast by people not in line at 8 p.m. should be separated. Nicholas Solorzano, a spokesman for the Dallas County Elections Department, said anyone who voted during the extended hours did so with provisional ballots, allowing officials to set those ballots aside if needed. It's not immediately clear how many ballots were cast provisionally.
And the problem with provisional ballots across the United States is some, especially in some states like New York, they're almost like considered symbolic. They aren't necessarily counted the same way a regular one is. They're supposed to be, but they're generally not. They're really only so that you can update. They're only really used to update your voter registration. So say you moved a couple days or a couple weeks before the election, and your voter registration card is registered to a different precinct, then you use a provisional to, solidify your residency in a more progressive state like New York. But what did you hear? And I don't mean to cut you off, Brianna, but what you just went over kind of highlighted the point I was making about the responsibility of our county commissioners, our Democratic county commissioners, right, who control and oversee Democratic elections in a given county. You have your Democratic committee leaders, right, whether they're the county leaders or the local ones. The reason that people didn't know the new rules is because they're lazy and they didn't get off their asses, get in the streets, and disseminate information that was going to impact the upcoming election. And yet, and still, the DNC continues to encourage these people to run these local Democratic parties, not realizing that these are the folks that are causing you all to lose these major elections because they're more obsessed with power than they are with process. It's a problem.
So let me read this last part before we get off of this. GOP drove rule changes. Political parties, rather than local governments, administer primary elections in Texas. In the past, Democrats and Republicans have overseen them jointly. The rules in effect Tuesday are part of local GOP leaders' decision to hold a separate primary from Democrats this year in Dallas and Williamson counties, leading to precinct-based voting. In previous elections, individuals could cast ballots at any vote center regardless of their address under a county-wide voting system. In Dallas County, where some Republicans have expressed skepticism about the use of ballot counting machines, local GOP officials had initially planned to hand count the primary ballots. But Alan West, a former Florida congressman who now serves as chairman of the Dallas County GOP, abandoned the hand counting effort, citing logistical and personnel challenges in counting tens of thousands of ballots. But he has defended the separate precinct-based system as an approach that allows the GOP to maintain better control over the election. Republican Party officials in Dallas and Williamson counties did not respond to CNN's inquiries about Tuesday voting.
Now, a county-based system is a novel idea, but it sounds to me like Texas is just starting to have to work within the parameters that most of the states have already been working under, which is a precinct-based system. Or not most of the counties, most of the country, excuse me.
Yeah, so it's just important to give context to, again, how these local systems and how these tactics to kind of undermine stuff to make it harder for Democrats to vote, how that played a part into the outcome that we saw yesterday. So to me, it was just important to just give that extra layer of context. So now let's go here to the racism that I have been seeing in the Democratic Party that we cannot move forward. No. We cannot move forward, and there can be no reconciliation or unification until not only we address this, but there's some plan to counter it when it eventually shows its head again. Have you heard of Rogue DNC?
I have heard of Rogue DNC. I was a follower. I started following them a while because I started seeing these kind of like, some would say controversial opinions about how how the DNC operates, and I agree with I agree with a lot of the content that Rogue DNC has put out over the last few months that I've been following them. But I really am, when you had mentioned this the other day on our phone call, I was really intrigued to learn more about what's been happening here with this particular account. So yeah, please take the floor and give us the synopsis.
Okay, so yeah, just to piggyback what you say, Rogue DNC is this social media account that most of the time they are on the right track when they're just calling out issues within the Democratic Party and publishing stories about what we do, what the things we need to do to push ourselves further as a party. Live for that. What I don't live for is particularly how they have been coming after not only Black women politicians, but Black women political commentators. And they show their ass, and we'll get to it. And like we just have to address it because this energy is present in the party, and now we're at the point where we're seeing patterns. We're seeing patterns, and an inability to name it and to address it is going to have us repeating these same cycles again. And black people are tired. Black people are choosing to sit certain things out. So I don't. Will I think the Black support like dramatically drop off overnight? No, but I think things are starting to change. And more folks need to be mindful and cognizant because we're not interested in being the sacrificial lambs anymore, or being the work mules, or being gaslit about like the racial and the sex-based treatment that we're having to endure within our own party.
And let's be clear, we are in top positions within the national DNC, right? Like you see when I think Malcolm Kenyatta's vice chair, I believe, of the DNC. Malcolm Kenyatta being in that position is not going to instill confidence in a Black queer voter like myself who's engaged and involved. So we also don't have time for the symbolic leadership bullshit that they like to play on both sides, but particularly on the DNC side. Like, put people there who have the moral and principle fortitude to push this party forward, or you're going to risk losing us all.
So the Griot reported on it. The Griot has reported on this, and it's also in Yahoo News. NAACP distances itself from influencer called out for hating Black women over Crockett dispute. Don't use us as a justification for your views, especially when it comes to issues that impact Black women, said the civil rights organization. The NAACP distanced itself from a political influencer accused of hating Black women and embroiled in online controversy over his criticisms of U.S. Senate candidate Jasmine Crockett and subsequent personal attack on a Black female political influencer. If I hate Black women, how come one nominated me to get an NAACP award for my community work helping people of color, wrote Louis Magania, who runs the social media account Rogue DNC. Magania sought to, I just think his name is a key to his name has MAGA in it, but Magania Magania sought to dismiss accusations that he was perpetuating misogynoir after being called out by prominent Black female political influencers when he posted a clip from an old interview of Crockett discussing her position on Israel and its deadly military operation in Gaza. Crockett, who faces a closely watched primary election against fellow Democrat James Talarico on Tuesday, has been repeatedly called out by progressive voices for not having a hard line against Israel for what many see as its genocide of Palestinians. How disappointing. Not a good look for Ms. Crockett, Megania captioned, with the interview clip of Crockett discussing the issue with Lene Beni, the host of the Instagram series Parking Lot Pimpin' and Revolt TV's The People's Brief. But when Benet caught wind of Megania's post, she called it out. And I'm not going to read this because I actually have the video and we can watch that later. But she did say the political influencer continued. I completely understand why Jasmine's answer in that clip is unfavorable, but why are y'all acting like James Tallarico has not directly said out of his mouth that Israel has a right to defend itself, that he supports a two-state solution, and that he himself has been on the receiving end of Zionist funding, when again, Jasmine has not.
The jury's out on that, but
Medanya replied to Vinny, I don't see your support when I post Cori Bush or Summer Lee, so cut out this lazy ass argument. Things escalated after Elizabeth Booker Houston shared a direct exchange which she had with Magana over his post, which resulted in him photoshopping her image into a racist caricature. Have you seen this image, C. Michael?
No, please show us. As long as it won't get us canceled.
Well, we didn't post it, bitch.
We're just reporting the news.
Hold on.
I'm over here giving Wendy Williams eating candy on camera and just giving a light ASMR. Hold on, let me open this. Let me open this can of Vietnamese coffee. This is not an endorsement. Wait a minute. Okay, can you please? Okay, I mean, all right. So racist is what's been described. This has been described as, right?
Yes.
Please explain to me how this is racial. I actually see more of a trans misogynoir twist on that picture than a racial one. But please.
Well, his ass is being dragged for it, so.
So that's what they have on him?
Well, he also was going back and forth with that lady in a message thread, and she posted all of the DMs.
Right.
But going
I
back,
mean, there have been things that the Rogue DNC has posted that really had me kind of raising eyebrows. But there also are very few accounts on the internet that are willing to kind of take a defiant stance on how the Democratic Party is operating. And so this is an invitation to anyone who wants to pick up the throne in a more, or pick up the scepter in a more ethical way.
Back to the article.
I'll follow you.
A quick reminder that Louis Magana.
Oh no, I lost you again. Oh God. I'm gonna jump in and jump out.
Okay. Are you back? I can't hear you.
No?
Oh, I hear you now.
Oh, okay. I think there might be just a slight delay.
A quick reminder that Louis Magana, aka Rogue DC, is a talentless hack who cannot make it in the political commentary space on skill or intelligence. So he's resorted to antagonizing and tokenizing Black women while pretending to hold progressive values that only make racist white leftists like him, wrote Booker Houston. After a series of back and forth with Booker Houston and Vinny and doubling down, the NAACP entered the political foray to distance the organization from Magana, who used the local chapter award he received in Greater Bridgeport, Connecticut, to push back against criticisms that he has contempt for Black women.
The NAACP in Bridgeport, Connecticut sounds like a nasty, elite Negro circle.
It sounds very light.
It's very fences, bitch.
Yeah, light skin and blue blood. And very loose.
It's given. You got to go down to Bridgeport to get your hair done.
Yeah, very loose textured hair.
Yes.
Very beige.
A nasty settlement of, you know what? Let me not say that, because if I say that, even though it's my heritage, if I say that word, I'm gonna get canceled. Never mind.
Megania eventually apologized for the image she doctor of Houston Booker. Hey all, I was educated on the history of racist caricatures by a mutual and apologized for my racist Photoshop liquefy, he wrote. This person has been bullying me for months and didn't want to reply to her mean DM. So I did what I thought was a funny Photoshop. I apologize and thank those who talk to me with decency and respect.
Oh, just like a conservative Politico. Now Booker, this is the young lady that does the TikToks, and she's like a darling of the Democrat. But I mean, like, girl, aren't you getting paid by the DNC, girl? Like, aren't you and like Conscious Lee and a few of y'all other folks in that cohort getting like a nasty check from the DNC to like promote candidates that they want you to promote, and policy positions they want you to promote, so that you can bolster the millennial Black vote? Because that's how they're trying to capture us now. Like, we're blind and we don't have a handle on social media. Isn't this the same one with the glasses, light skin?
Yes, this is her. I'm surprised you couldn't tell that from the digitally altered photo.
No, that didn't look anything like her. That was a nasty rendition, if that's the case. Now I see. I understand. I mean, I'm gonna call it racial. I mean, it wasn't giving like on a baboon. Like it was actually more transphobic than it was racial.
I'm not buying this apology. I'm just not buying that as somebody that is as intelligent as you, who knows how to read between the lines, you had no conception of racist caricatures or how that could have been perceived. I just choose not to believe that. And this whole part of, well, I only thank those who talk to me with decency or respect. When you do something that is either racist or racial, people are not obligated to respond to you with respect when you are disrespecting them. So like, we either going to apologize or we not. And this just shows me that you don't really feel that way, because after Jasmine lost, you were you didn't post it, but you reposted something basically saying that everybody needs to apologize to Matt Rogers and Bowen Yang about the stuff that they got caught out for.
I'm not apologizing to those queens for shit.
Right.
What? Like, girl, please.
Nobody's apologizing to them. They're not vindicated, because the fact still remains, at the time that they made their point, they had no information about Tallarico.
Or they did,
according from what they said. According from what they said out of their mouth.
Allegedly.
Yeah, so you think they were political pawns too? You think they were bought?
Honey, if you I'm one of the few Black queens that have been behind the veil, right? And have lasted as long as we have, at least here in Pennsylvania. I'm quite sure there's plenty of me's all across the union, but there's only one C. Michael in Pennsylvania, honey. And what I can tell you is that there are so many people within influential circles, whether it's social media, whether it's, these social groups, D9 groups, so on and so forth, that are being used as pawns, whether they're paid pawns or whether they're voluntary pawns. Folks broker their influence in very interesting and possibly unethical ways. When it comes to politics. That's why when people say politics is a nasty game, it is. It's nastier than you think. Everyone should be concerned.
Speaking of pawns that you allegedly name, I actually have a video that I wanted to play.
I'm shutting up now before a bullet comes through my window.
Yeah, I asked the question because in 2026, if you still have to be schooled on what a racial caricature is, how dedicated are you to understanding progressivism or even being intersectional when it comes to oppression? For me, it wasn't just this caricature right here, Luis. It was how you was using African-American vernacular English, being cheeky with Black women when they were saying, hey, the way you come in at Black women seem a little, You nah, baby, nah, best friend. Nah, that shit didn't sit right with me. I tried to give you the benefit of the doubt because I see you apologize, but then I sat there and thought about the apology, and then other black women was like, yeah, this ain't a good apology. And I thought about it. Can you apologize for an action that you did to an individual without acknowledging the individual? The response, no. What does it mean for a Latino man to say he had to be schooled by a mutual about racial caricatures? Like before you start getting into the theory or getting into policy, you understand racism one-on-one. As a matter of fact, as somebody with a master's degree in human relations, I can tell you, Chinese, Latinos, Black Americans have all had caricatures inscribed onto our identities. So for you to get into an interpersonal beef with a Black woman and you start using little tropes and caricatures, I'm looking at you different. For everybody in the back, all my fellow white leftists, white progressives, whatever you want to call yourself, how come y'all come at Black women in the way y'all come at Black men? Yes, I know Lewis is not a white person. He's a Latino man, but the way he conducted himself and the way he gave that apology was definitely white liberal coded, white leftist coded. Come y'all play these games, women in our community, and y'all don't do it when it come to us. Y'all want to be our friends and shit. I'm starting to look at y'all crazy. There's always some pipeline or opportunity to denigrate and talk shit down on Black women. How can we create a big team when there's always a subset of my community you see liable, you see viable as being able to attack, especially for kicks and giggles, especially for some capital? And listen, I don't agree with all Black women. I'll be the first to tell you that. But it's a clear difference between making policy, ideology type of disagreements and making it about their race, making it about their personhood. As somebody that used to do debate, we used to always teach our debaters.
Before I let you respond, consciously,
I seem to lose you every time you pause a video. That's weird. I'm sure it's on my end.
Can you hear me now? Hello?
Yeah.
Okay, so before
operator voice.
Before I let you go, consciously, I want to hold your hand. I'm in a Aeon way, baby. It's caricature, caricature. But other than
I enjoy when he gives an AAVE rendition of a. You don't live, I live.
No, it wasn't necessary for that word. But I do agree with his critique of Roe.
I do too. Yeah,
because it was like you meant to have the impact. You knew exactly what you were doing, and you were not being genuine in your apology. So,
but also like look at how he utilized a Black legacy organization like the NAACP to increase his social capital amongst a group of people who consume his product. We consume the Rogue DNC's product, and arguably, it's a decent work product, right? But honey, that doesn't give you street cred. And I think this whole idea, like, oh, the NAACP gave me an award, I must be doing something right for Black communities. Like, honey, most Black folks don't really even mesh with the NAACP like that. And I'm gonna be honest, most NAACP chapters aren't out here on the front lines of anything, of any movement work. So let's keep it a bean. Like, you got honored by an organization that probably didn't even know who you were 5 minutes before they gave you that award.
Now, if he really wanted to turn it, he should have said NAACP of like Valdosta, Georgia, or Jackson, Mississippi. Like that would have turned. But
Huntsville, Alabama, girl.
Yeah, Bridgeport, Connecticut. You're gonna have to try again, boo boo.
I bet you that chapter has buku dollars though.
But let's go. I have 2 more things I want to do. And then we can end the episode because we're already at the 2-hour mark. I hope everybody watching y'all enjoyed and that y'all got something out of this. But I just wanted to just do a deep dive and just have more generative discussion and just have nuance and have layers as to, at least for me, why I feel the way that I feel. So let me go to the next clip I want to share.
is about to be very black, but it's not about to be brief at all. So buckle in and get comfortable. So this has nothing to do with what somebody said about me, but what I will not do is allow myself to be used as a tool or a pawn to perpetuate misogynoir against any black woman. So this video is about the principles, concepts, and social constructs at play in a particularly revealing situation. It tells us a lot about anti-blackness in this revolutionary moment. It has come to my attention that an interview that I did with Jasmine Crockett started recirculating this past weekend. The clip was me trying to get information about her stance on the United States relationship with Israel. Mind you, the interview happened 2.5 months ago. Funny enough, they chose to drop it during the NAACP Image Awards weekend, and no one tagged me in these posts. And the posters claim it's because they don't know me. And in fact, any place they would have gotten this clip would have had to have my name all over it because it was on my show. So I'm willing to bet that these coward-ass bitches were just hoping that I was distracted by the Image Awards and that I wouldn't see it in time. My question to anybody that watched and digested this content is that why would you let somebody like Rogue DNC, somebody capable of producing images like this, who frequently instigates trivial online catty disputes and shows sustained effort at diminishing Black women at every turn, have any authority on disseminating political information to you? So because we spent this last Friday celebrating the fact that I won the NAACP Image Award for Digital Content Creation in Politics and Culture, allow me to remind everybody why I won the NAACP Image Award for Digital Content Creation in Politics and Culture. Now, we've already discussed cowardice and caricature reminiscent of America's first original art form, minstrelsy. So let's get on the misogynoir. Exhibit A, once again, I was not tagged in these posts, but Elizabeth Booker was, and so was Amanda Seales. Now, how'd they get in it? Exhibit B, the language on this post positioned me opposite to Jasmine, putting me on a moral high ground, given my question in response to her answer. And did you think that I would think that was cute? That would find satisfaction in your language, distancing me from Jasmine? Now, I'm not here to make any excuses for Jasmine's answer. If you watched the whole interview, you would know that it was the last question I asked her in a line of questions designed to get clarity on her stance on Israel. And the original feedback was a lot of people wishing that she had just used the word genocide. But James Tallarico has also never used that word. So I have to ask, why did you post this the weekend before the primary when it's on an issue that the candidates don't even differ on, at least not on paper? And I'm not doing whataboutism because both of the candidates have the same stance. What I'm talking about is the fact that these platforms are only pushing one narrative, attacking one candidate, and have not posted a single thing about Tallarico's support for Israel, which makes it seem an awful lot like capitalizing on a liberation movement to help a white man win. Oops. Oh, I'm sorry. You wanted proof that their stances are the same. Please pause your screen to look at exhibits A, B, C, D, and E. They both have the same stance on sending defensive weapons to Israel while stopping offensive weapons. James Tallarico has said out of his mouth that he believes that Israel has a right to exist and that he supports a two-state solution. On top of that, he himself has been on the receiving end of Zionist-adjacent funding, when again, Jasmine has not. He might be good at hiding paper trail, but his photo ops tell a different story. This is a smear campaign, insidious and covert in its attempts to make James Tallarico look like a saint. And if your next line of defense is to say that just last month, Jasmine sent $3.3 billion in offensive arms aid to Israel, then you may be a victim of the misrepresentation of House Resolution 7006, because if you were to read it, you would see that it says defense. And why would she vote yes on a bill to send offensive weapons when she signed a letter to Biden demanding that they stop? So once again, the absence of the same energy for both of them is a telltale sign that misogynoir is at play. So allow me to take a brief departure here to address two comments. Sarah Penelope says that misogynoir was invented by the K-Hive.
I'll leave this right here because this was a long video.
What is the K-Hive? I don't hear you again. See if I'm minimizing the video will bring the sound back before I jump in and jump out again.
Hello? Or hold on.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
No. I'll be to blame. I'll be back. If you want to donate to my upgraded technology, my Cash App is $CKCALHOUN917. Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, Lene did. This is like about a 10-minute video where she just discussed how she refused to allow herself in her interview to be a pawn and just the racist and sexist attacks against Jasmine Crockett, but just against Black women in general. So it was a very good video. I got a lot of context from the video.
I enjoyed what she was saying. I did find her centering herself in this NAACP award kind of advantageous. And the first question that popped to mind was, who the fuck is watching the NAACP awards in 2026?
At least we don't gotta worry about nobody calling us the hardy ER
Well, that
Ooh.
sounds like no fun. We can't say it there either.
Ooh. Oh my God. I'm having cramps. Ooh.
Ooh, child. The 2-hour video is just too much for the girls.
Is it that time of the month?
Oh.
Ooh.
Yes. Come with
Ooh.
me and you'll be in a place called fantasy.
Ooh. He doesn't know tea, y'all. And then I want to end it here because it's been, I guess, kind of doom and gloom, depending on what side you're on. Something that made me very happy and that gave me hope is Gina Hinojosa won her primary to face off against Governor Greg Abbott, aka Hot Wheels, in November for governor of Texas. So I am very excited about that. Greg Abbott needs to go. He does not need to be governor of Texas any longer. We have woman representation, we have Latina representation. I'm excited. And I think she could win, and I am willing and ready to vote for her. I saw her share something on her Facebook this morning where she was hugging Jasmine Crockett, so she's okay in my book.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited about her. Texas just desperately needs new leadership, and we need people with new ideas, people who are exciting, and I want diverse people. I just want diverse people because
that actually represents the makeup of the states, right? Like you're in Texas or you're in California and you don't see representatives that look like not just the indigenous history of those areas, but also the current history of those areas, the current social makeups of those areas. You don't see enough Latinx folks in legislative positions, just like even in places as small as Collingdale. You have the chambers that are just now. You have Black members coming into council positions, even though the population turned over 20 years ago.
Right.
It's time for our legislatures on any level to start reflecting the people that are actually being represented.
Yeah, I'm tired of the same old, and that's why I'm not excited to vote for Tallarico, because even though he won and even though he has these sentiments, he's not exciting. I'm not excited to vote for him. I feel like we've seen this before. We've seen this before. We've gotten these justifications before, and we already know how this is going to go down when he gets elected. He's going to get in there and he's going to basically be a centrist and be trying to bridge gaps and not really. I'm at a point where if the world is burning down, what is the harm in us taking risks, and what's the harm in us dreaming bigger and not just playing it safe? And I'm sorry, Tyler, it's just giving me playing it safe, and
it's giving Democratic hack. Just say it.
And I feel like I also know that my opinion is just my opinion, and I don't expect the party as a whole to take this hard line because that's just not realistic. But for me to want to get up and vote for somebody, you're gonna have to work for my vote. You're gonna have to show me. And I don't feel like he has the capacity to show me. I just feel like the Democratic Party wants to try these same and old tactics, and that's just why we're losing. And I hate that there's so much effort in getting people to vote for us who will never vote for us, rather than figuring out new ways to energize people who are already in our party and bringing new people to our party who have never voted before.
There are enough registered Democrats in Texas to have gotten Jasmine on that ticket and pass this primary. Like you just pointed out, all of our Democratic committees are going to have to start working to bring out the voters that are already on our rolls. Most states, most jurisdictions, voter participation is less than 20%, sometimes even less than 10%. Like, we have to really start getting real. Most registered voters do not vote, not even half of them. That's across the country. So I'm excited to see what's to come for Jasmine Crockett. I'm gonna throw this out there. I think a podcast, even if it's a limited series with her and Nina Turner, would eat. And Corey. Oh, honey, that would be nasty work, right?
Yeah,
Like,
I
I want
think
her to keep talking. I want her to keep influencing culture here.
I think in the grand scheme of things, Jasmine is going to be just fine. She's the it girl, and she has star power.
I just hope that she takes this opportunity of freedom, like most of us who start to move. After the Democrats do you dirty, you have a choice. You can either keep tap dancing for them, or you can use your voice. So I really hope that Jasmine takes this opportunity to use the power and the influence that she's garnered from this experience to take a stance. It's time for her to take a position now on some of these things that she may not have been able to speak on, because of her affiliation with the Democrats. I know how it is. Like, a lot of people are like, you got to take a position on this. No. It's not that easy when you're operating within a system that was already designed not to support you.
Right.
So I don't blame Jasmine for having to take certain positions or remain neutral on some things, because I know what she was having to navigate. It's very difficult in the moment. But now that she no longer is under the thumb of the Democratic Party, I really hope that I can start to learn more about her personal politics. And I hope that one day she can return to either an executive position or a legislative role within the chamber again. I hope.
Well, yeah, I have hope that Jasmine is going to expand her presence, and I think we all know Jasmine is going to be just fine. It's just you want to know that in contests that people are actually going to do what they need to do to support you, so you can get the things that you deserve, and that you're not always having to pivot because you're being shut out from systems, and it's just so unfortunate. But yeah, James Tallarico, the bar is not high for me, but again, he's gonna have to work for my vote. And so far, I don't. I'm not placing a whole bunch of money on him, because a lot of people feel like they don't need us, or they don't need to court or interact with us, and I think that's that would be a flawed strategy going into November.
Agreed.
But I will leave that here. Thank you all for watching this. If you're part of the replay game, thank you all for watching, and please, again, like, share, comment, subscribe. I appreciate your support. Since I've been on here for 2 hours, I don't think I'm gonna do the second video today, but just keep on the lookout. I will do the second video where I go through the complaint for the Kansas lawsuit. But until then, I will talk to you guys soon. And see, Michael, thank you so much for coming down and sharing your expertise with us. You definitely added a lot to the conversation, and I'm so happy that we were able to share this space together.
Thank you for inviting me. I look forward to coming back again.
Okay. See y'all later.